just wear shirts in the pregame. Like, if you can't cover your chest before the game, then you're definitely not going to cover the final score. That's all I'm saying.
Yo. This is the Game Day Podcast, Week 4. I'm the host, Lawrence Price. I'm alongside the regulars of Alex and John. Then we got two guests, special guests, Miles French and Davis Johnson. Well, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. Do you want to just say, hi, I'm so-and-so I work with, what you dabble in at Northwestern?
Go ahead, Miles.
Okay, I'm Miles French. I'm the assistant sports editor for North by Northwestern and a crew member, part-time anchor, a little bit of everything for NNN Sports.
Yep, and I'm Davis Johnson. I'm a senior, and I am the sports director for Northwestern News Network Sports Division.
I appreciate both of them coming on. Of course, Alex and John. But, we got the special guest, right? First time?
Honored. Even
though this is week 4. We're going to first break down Northwestern. We're just 1 week away from John jumping into the ice-cold water.
That's not certain. It hasn't happened yet. There's a
reason
reason they play the game.
Alex is going to be recording. I'm going to be recording. It's going to be on social media some way, somehow. I'm excited to see. I mean, Davis, if you want to jump in with them because you all live in the same building.
I didn't make this bet, so I'm
Miles, if you want to join in,
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, well.
Warm shower, guys.
Well, we'll start off with Minnesota. Where Northwestern, clearly they lost 31-3. Jesus Christ, man. 31-3. Tough battle, right? Tough game to watch. I mean, me, Alex, and John traveled to Minnesota via car. Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Right.
I did not need to get hit per se.
I just suggest, when it comes to snow,
You
slow down.
You decelerate.
We slow down just a little bit.
You decelerate.
Which is exactly what the Cats offense did on Saturday.
That's a great transition into the game. I mean, clearly 31-3. A lot happened in the game. Davis, we were in the press box. Davis was on his couch. Miles, I don't know where you watched the game, or did you?
I did.
Okay.
I was on a futon, technically.
You were on?
On a futon.
Oh, okay. So, let's break it down. I mean, we had a great time in the freezing cold of Minnesota. We got to go to the Mall of America, which was dope.
Y'all do the mini golf course?
There was a mini golf course?
Yeah, I know. I've done it before.
Hey, we got to go back.
Yeah.
And
I did not know that.
Hey, gotta give John hats off for driving the whole 13 and a half hours.
And we spun out.
You spun out?
Yeah, we spun out.
We spun
out. We went into other lanes of traffic.
I'm pretty sure I'm
wild.
sitting in the back. I got my hood on. I'm awake, but I'm just like stationary. And then I just hear, oh, shoot. Boom, boom. And I'm like, what in the world, man?
Spinning out is changing directions. We didn't change directions. We just do
We
it.
did change directions. We were 45 degrees.
We were never 45 degrees.
Okay.
Someone is
We
lying.
were counting different
We were at least 55, bro.
Okay.
But it was a great time. It was a great time to see Mall of America. But going back to the game. Anybody want to start us off with some game notes? I mean, we knew that before the game. I mean, it was really dope to go down to the field as well. But we heard that Bryce Gallagher was going to be out. He's, we don't want to assume anything. I mean, he said a concussion, but we can't assume what it was. We don't know if he's going to be available for this game coming up. But that was a big hit, not having your captain, linebacker, one of the best linebackers in the Big Ten, at least through tackles. In the game, and then it kind of went from there, right? So let's start off with the offense. The group that, as John said, decelerated very, very quickly. Does anybody want to break down their views on the offense in the game, putting up 3 points?
I'm so tired.
Oh.
Of the offense or in general?
I mean, yes, in general.
Finals week.
Yeah.
It is finals week, but definitely of the offense. It's gone from anger to just acceptance at this point. things just cannot get moving with this offense, no matter what. Yeah, looking forward to next year. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say next game. I'm going. Well, we're gonna get into next game.
We kind of are in the 5 stages of grief though with this offense. We went through denial in that first quarter against Duke.
Yeah.
Then we went to anger for like the next 4 weeks, right? Like look at Southern Illinois, Miami, Ohio, right? Then we went to bargaining. Like hypothetically, let's say they played.
We beat
They
Wisconsin.
played Wisconsin and Penn State and Ohio State, right?
They
That's
looked
the bargaining.
good. They looked all right against Penn State.
They did. There was rain, but the depression, I would characterize that as the entire season.
It's gonna be me.
And we're now in acceptance in week 10. So, yeah, we are going through the 5 stages of grief of this football team, and we're on stage 5, which means I don't know what stage 6 is, but
Depression. It could really go, if depending on what moves are made this offseason, we could be facing that next year as well. I'm not gonna say anything more than that, but yes, the offense looked very poorly. It did not help that both Brendan Sullivan, who started the game and then got injured, and then Ryan Helinski, who came in for him, got injured. So now we're just kind of playing around with quarterbacks, and Evan Holt did not have the best day. I would say you credit that to the offensive line's poor production that we've seen this season. I believe he only had, 13 carries?
50 yards, 54 yards.
54 yards. And mind you, 20 of those yards came in the fourth quarter during garbage time. So he arguably did not have over 50 yards. And that he wasn't in the receiving game like we've seen him before. And I feel like the offense just looked terrible. Again, the offense looked terrible. It's just like a question of what are we doing here? I don't know if anybody else has points on the offense, but we want to talk.
Yeah, it was the best offense for them was Malik Washington, the yards after the catch.
Yeah.
There was that one drive where Sullivan threw him a pass, got knocked out, and then
Way to stay in by him too. That was a great pass.
It was a terrific pass, but he got just walloped while it happened, and then Malik took that, and then Malik took another pass from Helinski. That brought them all the way down, and it just didn't work out for them there.
Didn't that get them the 3 yards though? Was that the possession they got?
That got them the 3 points, so they weren't able to capitalize with the touchdown.
Yeah,
but we're at least able to get on the board, which is more than
He got
more than any other drive.
He got 76 of those 97 receiving yards on that drive.
And I agree. Hull wasn't his most productive while playing in his home state, and usually the formula for them doing well is Hull doing well.
Me personally,
it just lifts up the whole offense.
Me personally being at home, I'd have to play good. But that's just me. Go ahead, continue.
And basically, I think you can break it down to they played 4 quarterbacks and scored 3 points. That was the kind of day it was for this offense. Something
we would see last year, definitely, after playing so many multiple games with multiple quarterbacks. And, let's go to the defense. We knew that Northwestern's going to have to stop Minnesota's run game, or at least Mohamed Ibrahim, right? Yep. And that was even asked at the press conference after the game. You all knew that you had to stop the run game, and you all did not stop the run game. What happened? So what do you guys think will happen with the defense? Of course, we saw that Mac Uline, who was leading the team in tackles at the time, got taken out for targeting, which that was clear targeting. There was nothing else you can't debate that. But what happened with the defense? Why weren't they productive, at least against Ohio State we saw?
There wasn't a weather event of biblical proportions aiding in their efforts.
I think that'll help. Going off I'll just read kind of what Pat Fitzgerald said after the game. He said that early on it looked like they fit gaps well, they tackled well, which was exactly what happened. They forced 2 3-and-outs early on and stopped the run game. And then he said then they went to the split outside zone game, and we missed tackles, they blocked us. And it was just devastating watching Ibrahim just tear up that Northwestern front seven.
Yeah.
They didn't even have to go to the passing game because they had a backup quarterback in. That's how you exploit this offense. Stop the run game, force a backup quarterback to beat you. They didn't do that at all. And Ibrahim, just what a day for him.
Yeah, and even going to the quarterback situation, I don't think he had over 70 passing yards, right? Even in the first half. They didn't need to go to him because they were just so successful in the run game, right? They had I mean, there was a point where they had 50 passing yards, 200 rush yards, and it just gets to a point Fitz is, consistently telling us, they got to fit gaps, they got to do this, do that. Then why aren't you doing it? If that's what you're working on in practice, why aren't you doing that? Why is it not translating to the game? It just comes down to that. I would say. I mean, the defense looked bad. It has arguably all season, and the only time the defense hasn't looked bad is when the weather wasn't
aiding in their efforts.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys have anything?
It was scary how quickly this team just ran out of gas immediately because, like John said, they were able to force some early 3-and-outs, and it looked like they were going to focus in on stopping the run, and then I don't know what happened. I don't know if the play call changed. I don't know if they ran out of energy, but you end up with 182 yards from Ibrahim. It's unacceptable.
And it wasn't like it was just Ibrahim either. It was
Potts.
Trey
Potts. It was Trey Potts. He was even when he came in, he was moving very quickly, and it's it wasn't even small gaining yards. It was broken tackles. And of course Ibrahim, that is a grown man. Bro's about 24 years old right now, 6th year. And we saw early on. I think I was looking at Alex when he was he would just put his head down, and then
he lowered his shoulder a couple times and just ran over our secondary.
Of course, most of the time he was tackled, but that's tough. But also, you just got to do a better job of tackling. Even when Mac was in the game, I saw multiple plays where it's just you're running and you can't wrap him up. You can't just dive and expect that to be enough for the game. But going back to the press conference, John, we were going to talk more about the press conference Saturday, and I think we touched on it a little bit. But even going back to what Malik said, I remember early on in the season where Malik would, very, very positive with, the team. We're going to get back into this. I have all the faith in the team. And it was definitely a transition where he said, we just want to let the seniors go out on a high note or send the seniors out well, right? And it kind of just shows, like Alex was saying, it's just acceptance into the season. What do you all think of those comments? Just accepting that the season's basically over and you just want to allow the seniors to have a good time while it can last. Anything like that? Davis, I see you're just do you have anything where you're contemplating? I can see you brewing with something.
I mean, why not? I mean, what are you gonna do the rest of the season? Everything. This program needs so many changes. You just need to get to the offseason. Nothing's gonna get fixed right now. The big issues of Northwestern just doesn't have the dudes anymore. However they were evaluating, obviously Northwestern not gonna get the elite talent ever out of the recruiting rankings, but however they were evaluating isn't working anymore. Northwestern just simply doesn't have a Power 5 roster.
That is.
There's probably 3 or 4 players who are big in caliber on this entire roster. I'm being honest.
Oh God.
Who are they?
Name them. I'd say Peter Skronsky.
Well, yeah.
Evan Hall. Cam Mitchell.
Cam for Press.
Tommy?
I was about to say, Tommy about to be a draft pick this year. You got to put him on there.
I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of linebackers. They're slow. They don't move laterally. They're not even good at diagnosing. Not even good at diagnosing run plays. They get pull out gaps very easily. It's very.
Are we just talking about Northwestern, or are we talking about linebackers in general?
Northwestern.
Oh, I was about to say. I was Luke Kuechly. I would say was a freaking.
No, I don't think.
No,
I think we were talking about Will Anderson. I don't think we were talking about Will Anderson.
Yeah, but I agree in the sense, Davis, with the recruiting aspect, right? Northwestern knows that they're not going to get the highest recruits due to how tough it is to get into Northwestern and how much they take academics into account. And I think that's an amazing value to have, but at the same time, understand how the pros and cons of that. That you're not going to get those recruits, and if you're not going to get those recruits, you got to be able to develop on a higher level than other people, and clearly Northwestern hasn't been able to do that this past or recently, I would say, or just even, you want the guys as time goes on, when they get into their older years or junior, senior, grad student, you want them to be those top guys, and that's just not happening. I would say, but. Going on to the press conference on Monday, Alex, I know we talked about the tweet that kind of just took us all by storm. Of course, what Louis said took us by storm, but more, on a different side of things, can you talk about how Fitz was response? Fitz's response to
You want me to
that.
just read it verbatim?
Yeah, you can read it for verbatim.
So when prompted about whether changes are going to be made in the offseason, likely to do with surrounding the coaching staff, Fitzgerald responded, this is clearly as far as he's gone all season, but he responded, "That's a fair question, and I think it will be something I'll look into after the season. I think that right now my focus is finishing the season off, number one, for our seniors," kind of saying exactly what Malik said. "And then as a coach, your job is to do everything you can to help them go out the right way, and that's kind of where we're at right now." He continued, "But we've got to be better across the board, and that starts with me. I'm incredibly disappointed in the outcome and the results of our games. There's no question about that."
Well, what do you guys think about that? Were you about to say?
Yeah. Like listening to Fitz talk, it's like reading tea leaves sometimes. You've really got to look for the slightest differences.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the end there, mentioning that he's really disappointed, is huge. But, of course, when him saying, I'm going to wait till the end of the season, want to send the seniors out right, that's just coach talk. It's what he has to say.
Yeah, he ain't exactly Mike Leach or Lane Kiffin when it comes to press conference, so.
I was very shocked by the comments, or at least I feel like by now Fitz clearly knows what he can or wants to say to the media. Mm-hmm. And that was, changes across the board meant I think they're going to definitely consider possible changes going into the offseason, starting with, I think, the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, Mike Bajakian and Jim O'Neill. I think those are the two heads, under him. But I think, even we were talking about on the road trip, how when are they going to think about it being questioning if Fitz is going to be here, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it's more about you need to get a new OC and DC and see how the team looks with the new group of individuals on the head with Fitz. And if it's still a problem, then you got to question Fitz. But I think it's first about switching the people in charge. I think, yeah.
And so my article this week for the Daily is kind of the what to watch for Purdue. And one of my points is that during this last stretch, obviously they're trying to break the losing streak. They're trying to put the seniors out on a good note.
Trying to save you from the cold water.
Trying to save me from the cold water. But I also think it's proving their merits that they can be part of the solution and that they're not part of the problem. I didn't find it too shocking what Fitz said, because he said that he was evaluating it, but that he also evaluates during the season. Mm-hmm. What I kind of will be surprised is when there's actual results. He's a little clearer than he was in the past, but it was, I think every coach evaluates what his program's doing, and somebody as competitive as Pat Fitzgerald is going to realize that things that are making his team not competitive. He's smart. He knows football. He knows what the results are. And yes,
play linebacker. At Northwestern,
he did
exactly.
Fill gaps.
Yeah, he did, Bill. He
did fill the gaps, and I just think that it's his MO to wait until after the season. I think he's going to be really looking to make some serious changes.
Does anybody else have any comments, or we can?
I would be interested. Do you guys think that there are any assistants who have been having standout years that you think should be a priority or attain? For example, I think Ryan Smith with the defensive backs, it's his first year. This is a unit that's gone through so many injuries. Yeah. And obviously, a lot of these teams are trying to run just because the run game is so bad. But getting guys up to speed like Devin Turner, who's a true first year, started 2 games. I'm really impressed by him, and I feel like he could be one of those guys who could be really helpful to have to retain, even if maybe the coordinators go different ways.
I agree. I was thinking Coach Ryan Smith as one person that could move up, or at least I would say the defensive back room has definitely looked good. Arguably, we saw them against Ohio State. They were pretty sound, and they, like you said, they faced a lot of injuries. Coco is out for the season, Jaheim's out for the season, and you've had to move guys around. Jeremiah Lewis, who was a cornerback at Duke, has had to play safety. Rod Hurd, cornerback, plays safety, and they've looked good. And then being able to enter Devin Turner, Darren Johnson. Of course, they've had their problems at times, but that's just going to happen because you're a young a young guy, right? But I think they have definitely the defensive back room has definitely looked solid or up to par, especially with Cam Mitchell. I think leading the charge with the the 3 pass breakups against Ohio State. Do you guys?
Barring some hurricane force winds, that theory is definitely going to be tested this week against Purdue. I assume.
I definitely agree, and I was telling Bradley that I think this is a great opportunity for Cam this weekend with Purdue's Charlie Jones, and I think we can, unless anybody wanted to say anything, we can transition to the Purdue game. Northwestern this weekend squares off against Purdue at Purdue in West Lafayette. 6-4 team, 4-3 in the Big Ten. A solid team overall. I mean I would say their schedule or their record seems pretty solid or average, but I mean they got some playmakers on the team. And speaking of playmakers, wide receiver Charlie Jones, over 1,000 yards, like you were saying before the game, Davis. Do you want to talk more about him? I mean, that's going to be definitely the one-on-one matchup everybody's going to be watching for with him and Cam.
Yeah, I mean Charlie Jones. This is his third school. Started Buffalo, then went to Iowa. Wasn't like that much of a factor. Iowa 300 yards, more of a return guy at Iowa. But at Purdue, with under Aiden O'Connell in that passing offense, he has really exploded. One of only 6 receivers in the FBS over 1,000 yards right now. Sheesh. And he's got 10 touchdowns. Everyone talks about like Marvin Harrison Jr., but Charlie Jones is right up there with him in terms of production this year, even if he doesn't have the draft height that he does.
And if I'm an NFL GM, I'm still taking Marvin Harrison. There's no
I don't blame you.
I
don't blame you, but just like obviously with Marvin Harrison Jr. in the Ohio State receiving core, there was a bunch of hurricane force winds that really impacted that game. And also interesting to see how Northwestern handles Charlie Jones and Aiden O'Connell, who is top 20 in passing yards and is starting the 6th most pass attempts in the entire country this year. So
yeah, let's flash it back. I mean, to last year's game of Northwestern versus Purdue, right at Wrigley Field. I know I was in the stands. John, were you in the press box?
I was in the press box with Gabriella Carroll.
Yeah, and then me and Alex were in the stands.
Drew shot.
And Drew, it was me, Alex, and Drew. Definitely made our. We were on TV for a minute. It was a fun time. Not a good game, but fun time. Miles and Davis, where were you guys at for the game? Did you guys go?
Purdue game.
At Wrigley,
right?
Filming.
Okay.
I think I'm. Yeah, they were.
Oh yeah, you were.
I stained my knees. I stained my knees.
You stained your knees?
I got dirt all over my knees because I kneeled down in Wrigley Field.
I remember seeing you do that. Okay,
It was pain.
So why'd you have to kneel down? Was you just trying to get there?
Because you're obstructing because the baseball seats are so low. You're obstructing the views of lower people. So you had to kneel down while you filmed.
Was it fun though?
I didn't bring knee pads or a towel. So
I'd really look at strange if you had knee pads on like you were riding a bike.
Hey, people do wear knee pads when they film games. Apparently, Pat Timlin has knee pads now. Apparently.
But Pat does this on that day-to-day basis.
That's true.
You were doing it for.
He gets paid.
Well, I was able to wash them out, so.
He gets paid, yes. I mean, it's going to be a very interesting game. We can even talk about the Purdue team. Just coming off a win, 32-24 win. 31-24 win over number 21 Illinois. A great defensive led team, I would say. So for them to put up 31 points, the most Illinois has given up this whole season, is a pretty that shows you how good their offense is, or even Charlie Jones. Charlie Jones didn't have a huge day, but Aiden O'Connell definitely had a very solid day. What would you guys say are some of the big parts of the Purdue offense or defense, or even some of the setbacks that they're facing?
I don't know. I think for Purdue's offense, it comes and goes as O'Connell and Jones go. That's the tandem. The Northwestern DBs are going to have to. I figure it's going to be either Mitchell or Hampton, whoever's locked up on him. But that's the matchup to monitor, at least in Saturday's game. Jones has over 1,000 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns, like people have said. So we'll see if Northwestern's defense can hold up without any weather.
We're talking about this game. There's going to be a lot of walk-ons in this game. Dane O'Connell for a walk-on. Devin Mock could be their starting running back walk-on. Yeah. Northwestern may be starting a walk-on quarterback.
Shout out Cole Freeman.
Yeah. We're going to get to Cole in a second. But, Davis, you were talking about... you were talking about Northwestern's running, or how the number of... or what's the stat? You had it, you're a data science guy. You knew this.
It doesn't take a rocket science to figure this one out, though. But I don't know the exact figure in front of me, but except for Texas A&M, so Northwestern has faced the second least percentage of passing plays the entire year.
That's crazy.
So out of all the plays Northwestern has faced on defense, they face the least amount per percentage of passing plays, except for Texas A&M, who has a horrible run defense.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. That's so disrespectful. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's just disrespectful. Like, you are game planning basically like we can run the ball against them and do whatever we want. I mean, it was true against Minnesota. Most likely will be against Purdue. And I tell you, if they get Charlie Jones going and then they have the run game, it's going to be steep.
It's a combination of Northwestern having bad run defense, having a couple games where the weather was really bad and forcing teams to run against them. And, yeah, so.
I didn't think about that. That is very true.
And also the lopsidedness of almost every game they've played this year. Yeah. Like teams just run the clock out on them.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, so it's going to be an interesting game between Northwestern and Purdue. And like everybody was saying before, with Brendan Sullivan out, or most likely out, or we'll see. It's most likely a game time decision. And then Ryan Helinski out for the rest of the season. There's questions on who's going to be the quarterback for Northwestern. We got a few names. Cole Freeman, the sophomore from Texas. I'm pretty sure he's from Texas.
Carl
Richardson.
Shortlist Carl Richardson.
Carl Richardson. And then also Jack Lausch. But I don't know if we're really going to see Jack Lausch. He might be redshirting. He hasn't seen any action. But we did see Carl and Cole in the game against Minnesota. It was very interesting. Yeah. Who do you guys think is going to be starting? I feel like we know where John's going to go here.
I feel like we should just go to John.
Yeah.
Cole Freeman. I think if it's not one of those two starters, I think it's going to be Cole Freeman. Played turnover-free football, which a couple of those other Northwestern quarterbacks were not able to do. But I think Northwestern's really trying to just evaluate their guys. They've evaluated Carl has played a good bit of kind of cleanup time when it has been some of these late blowouts. But we saw Cole show some good signs, make some good throws, and I think it'll be interesting to evaluate the arm. I think that whoever the quarterback is, they're going to try to rely and establish this running game. But I could see Cole making kind of impact there.
What do you two think? Who do you think is going to be?
I have to oppose John. I'm going to go Carl Richardson because of something you mentioned, which is...
Hey, Carl!
He gets into those like late games where the game is completely over. They're the guy he calls. He's the guy they call on. And he's a junior. He's got a little bit more experience, although not getting into a ton of college games. He's very familiar with the program, the playbook, all of that. But regardless, we're going to see multiple quarterbacks, I think, in this game.
I think it's going to be a good game. I know Davis... You're not going to the game.
Did you say it was going to be a good game?
I didn't really recognize what I said. It's not going to be a good game. Northwestern is going to most likely lose.
And then we are one step closer to John.
John's jumping in the water.
Yep.
And
ambulance will be on standby for hypothermia.
We'll have some towels, possibly. Might just make him run back to the newsroom to get a towel before. That might be fun. But yeah,
there's a reason I spent so much time in the hot tub in Minnesota just to prepare for
we're not going to
cold embraces of Lake Michigan.
We are not going to talk about the hot tub. The hot tub can be discussed afterwards. We're going to go ahead to the keys of the game for the game. Not for Northwestern to win, but do you think they're going to win?
I think there's a path for them to win.
I was going to say keys to the game for them to not look too bad.
Yeah. I think both are fair.
Do you think they're going to win?
No.
Okay.
I think both
keys to the game. And then we'll go to our predictions for the score or a game, what we think is going to happen. Any keys for Northwestern to win or not look too bad as they have the last 9 games?
I think that the path to victory is pretty similar. They'd have to replicate what they did against Ohio State and then execute down the stretch where they want to limit Purdue's offensive possessions because this is such a firepower-y passing attack that can really torch them if they give them that opportunity. So really making it a low-scoring game, very few possessions, and then down the stretch, especially if they can get the run game going, that's going to be huge. Maybe we'll see some wildcat formation again.
We definitely
with some shuffling at quarterback. And then making those key plays down the stretch, which really we haven't seen since Nebraska in August.
Yeah, I do think there's going to be a lot of Wildcat formations, especially if you got Cole out there for the first time this season. Really?
Or Carl.
And extended
Carl.
minutes. Yeah.
Where Carl almost threw an interception his first drive.
And then he did throw an interception.
Yeah. But any other keys from anybody else? Did John hit it on the nail?
Running game's got to be there.
Yeah. Give Malik Washington the ball.
Okay, well, what do you all have predictions for the game? I think it's gonna be shoot, man. If this was 31-3 last week, I might have to change my score. Actually, anybody have their score solidified already?
Yes. 31-14 Purdue.
You think Northwestern's gonna score 14 points?
Yeah. One of them is garbage time, but 14 points nonetheless.
So, like, why didn't we see the garbage time touchdown last week?
Better defense.
Okay. Yeah.
Purdue 13, Northwestern 19.
This
Northwestern
is
gets off the
absurd.
schneid. They're getting the win.
Understand he's strictly doing that so he does not have to jump in the water.
That's not true.
Purdue 35, Northwestern, I'll say 10.
I'll say Purdue 37, Northwestern 6.
I'm going to go Purdue 35. No, 31. Nah. Purdue 34, Northwestern 3. They're going to do a little bit better than Minnesota, I think.
Is the 6 2 Adam Stage field goals, or is it?
It's 2 field goals.
Okay. Jesus Christ, man. But, that's really going to wrap it up for us on the pod. Any thoughts? John, any thoughts? Davis, Miles, Alex, before we kind of wrap things up?
Drop me a follow on November 20th,
Whoa,
and you
whoa.
will see a video of John jumping in Lake Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
Approximately 10
This is not going to happen. He's just teasing it, but you can still follow because it's a great account.
Thank you.
I tried poke for the first time today. Didn't realize it was pronounced poke, but it was pretty good.
How'd you originally pronounce it?
Pokey.
Like Pokemon?
Exactly like Pokemon.
Did it taste good? Like,
It tasted good. Probably would have ordered the kahuna size, though.
what's that?
The biggest size.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
okay.
big bowl wasn't really that big, honestly.
I also want to say
Oh,
that
this is gonna be crazy.
right now, I'm number one Fearless Forecasters, and obviously I'm picking the Cats to cover. My only request to them, I want to be rooting for them to at least cover for most of the game. Please wear shirts in the pregame. Like, if you can't cover your chest before the game, then you're definitely not going to cover the final score. That's all I'm saying. I get Spanos can do it. Spanos can rock it, but...
So, like,
sorry,
why can
guys.
Spanos do it? Like, you just, like...
It's
Because
like
he's not playing.
it's like the broken, strong, independent meme. Like, it's pretty cool when you're undefeated, but you see
Yeah.
it lame when you only have one win.
Like,
I thought the
Minnesota could
Shiesty
do it.
masks were hard. Them Shiesty masks were hard. I would have joined them on the field if, I wasn't in my sports code and stuff like that, but...
You don't go Charlotte and then lose 31-3 and then do it again the next week.
But, yeah, anybody else? Any last words?
I can't wait for them to win a national championship next year.
That's great.
In what, field hockey?
Yeah, I feel hockey.
Everything.
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 Got it.
Especially football.
Alright.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
5th year boo-booing. 2024 national title.
Matt Nicholson, Final Four.
You must,
No.
you
No.
must be dreaming.
That's a
man.
cursed
Like, That's
timeline.
crazy.
That's a cursed timeline of Matt Nicholson wins most outstanding player in the
Oh, that's crazy.
That's a cursed timeline.
No, that's not. No, how to say that? No.
No. I can see it now.
But
A little baby hook to win the chip.
I didn't know he had a big hook in his arsenal.
It's not.
he does.
Bro, he really has a left-hand layup. Did y'all watch that Georgetown game? Shout out, though. He had 9 and 9 in the first half. Big
And
time.
shout out Michigan State Spartans for beating Kentucky last night. Great game by them. Well, it's not even last night when the pod drops, but y'all understand what I'm getting at. But I think that's gonna wrap it up. Shout out to the best fraternity in the world, as our Founders Day is November 17th. I had to say that because I'm wearing, of course. But if that's it from everybody else, I think we can wrap it up. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. We will be back most likely next week. We just got to see because last night of pub is Sunday. But we're going to drop the pod some way, somehow. So, but yeah, that's really it. Appreciate y'all for again tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your day. And see you next time. Peace.
Go Cats.